the last 2 years, we scaled our print-on-demand store from zero to over $2.3 million in revenue. But if I had to start over again, there are 4 things I would do completely differently. And that's what this video is about. If you're just getting started, building your store, or you're already running a print-on-demand brand, the mistakes I'm about to share might save you years of struggle, because these are the exact lessons that I had to learn the hard way, and the new strategies that I'm testing now to take us to over $5 million in revenue and beyond. So let's get into it. Lesson number 1 was that I was the bottleneck. Early on, I was doing a lot of things for the brand myself. I was doing the research. I was manually searching on Etsy, clicking through listings on Amazon, trying to reverse engineer what was already working. And I would start over again week after week, just trying to come up with the next idea that may work. And honestly, I wasn't moving fast enough. I was the bottleneck for my team. I wasn't creating designs consistently. And the truth is that I truly became the bottleneck of my own business. Looking back, I wish that I had started using AI way earlier. Now, we've built a system where AI helps us to brainstorm faster, validate ideas quicker, and even generate emotionally compelling design concepts that actually connect with our audience. In fact, we created a custom GPT going through this process on our own brand that helps us generate these viral design ideas in just seconds. We use it constantly, and the best part is that you don't need to be a designer to even get started. So if you want to try out the GPT, I've linked it in the description below. Just click it and we'll send it straight to your inbox. Lesson 2 was that we ignored our own catalog. Now, we were great at creating new designs. It wasn't always consistently, as we just talked about, and you should definitely continue to create new designs. But what we missed was this. We weren't regularly retesting our old designs to see if they could potentially spark some interest. Some of our best performing products that we've had over the last 2 years were honestly just sitting in our catalog untouched. And every time that we finally decided to put the effort into retesting them in a fresh campaign, we'd find a few would get traction. And it's one of those things that if you look back and just kind of go, oh my gosh, these have literally been sitting here for months and I just never let them see the light of day. Now, here's my tactical tip for somebody who is maybe going to experience this. Make it a habit to include older designs in your testing campaigns. We want to constantly be testing all of the designs in our campaigns. Sometimes we'll turn them off as some things are just not getting traction, but it's healthy to go back and try them again. I don't know what it is. Sometimes the algorithm changes slightly. Sometimes things are happening in the world and in the news that spark interest in these designs. And what didn't work a few months ago starts to gain some traction within your niche. Now, it's a really great way of utilizing the designs that you spend a lot of time creating and working on. Lesson 3 that I had to learn the hard way was that email became our profit engine. When I first started this brand, I had emails because I know how important email is, but I didn't spend enough time truly creating emails that I feel like connected with the audience. Now, if you're somebody who already has a store, you probably realize that creating emails, it takes a lot of creativity to write these emails in a way that feels like it is connecting with the customer and it aligns with the brand voice and the way that you are constantly communicating with your customers. And when you think of how big the email task actually is, you realize it's something that I already kind of have the flows set up. I'll really tweak them and do some testing and I'll finish that later. But honestly, that became my problem because when we finally focused on it and we hired somebody to come in and review our emails and give us feedback, honestly, it changed everything. We were able to revamp all of our flows as well as create post-purchase upsells and started doing weekly campaigns with actual strategies behind them and not just kind of random things that we were trying. And email started bringing in up to 30% of our overall revenue. But more than that, our profit went up. because email is owned traffic. It's one of the things that I've talked about time and time again, why Shopify, I believe, is a better option for print on demand than Etsy, because you actually get to own this list. You get to continue to communicate with these customers and actually build a relationship with them, because email is simply owned traffic and it doesn't cost you the same way that paid ads do. So we may be paying to acquire a customer, but pretty much it's free for us to continue marketing to them as long as they've signed up for our emails. Now, here's my tip for you. Focus on your flows first because they're automatic. They are just running in the background. Then you can layer in consistent value-driven campaigns and treat your subject lines as if they are mini Facebook ads. Because instead of fighting with somebody to get them to stop their scroll, we're instead fighting for the attention in a crowded inbox. Now, if you don't have any emails, just get some emails up, get anything, even if it's just the generic flow that Klaviyo has. But once you've dialed in like your niche and your customer, start really digging in and building your emails the correct way. Really study how people write their email copy, or do what I did and hire an expert to come in and take a look at your emails, because this alone skyrocketed our profit margin. We were typically sitting around 10%, but once we dialed in our email, we easily jumped up to 15, even 20% on certain months, because it was pretty drastic how much the percentage grew. We were originally only doing about 10% of our revenue coming from email to now around 30% making up our overall revenue. So it was a huge jump, and definitely worth making an investment for an expert to come in and give us tips and tricks. Now, let's talk about lesson number 4 that I learned the hard way. I should have picked a niche that I was obsessed with. Don't get me wrong, I am definitely passionate about the niche that we are in. I genuinely enjoy it. But if I am being completely honest, there are other topics that I am even more passionate about. And because of that, I now realize that I have missed things. I've missed emotional hooks. I've missed inside jokes within this niche. I've missed opportunities to connect with our audience on a deeper level, just because I'm not super obsessed with this niche. Now, if I had picked a niche that I was completely obsessed with, I think that the emotional connection would have been easier and more natural. And I think honestly, it would have been a lot easier for me to continue designing. I think that was one of the reasons that I ultimately became the bottleneck at points for this brand. And it shows up in every aspect of the brand, from the product ideas all the way to the copy. And I used to think it wasn't that big of a deal, but now that I look back on it, some of the most successful founders in the world are completely obsessed with their products. Like, I think about Elon Musk and I think about Steve Jobs. Now, both of these founders, these guys weren't just dabbling in something that they kind of liked. They were absolutely obsessed with their brand. They were relentless and they had vision. And ultimately, I think that's the reason that they were able to succeed the way that they were. Now, you're probably sitting there going, Meg, Elon Musk has a car company. He sends rockets into space. Steve Jobs created a $1 trillion company. Like, we're selling t-shirts. Yes, we are. We're selling t-shirts. But at the same time, I think having even that small obsession with it, like, you are going to be able to put so much more into that brand than just picking something that you're like, well, it has, all the data behind it to show that it's like a perfect niche to get into right now. I think you could perform better if you just picked something you were absolutely obsessed about that maybe didn't have all the numbers behind it, because you are going to be able to give and speak to that audience on just a completely different level than anybody else would. So here's my tip for you. Before you commit to a niche, ask yourself, could I talk about this all day? Could I make 100 designs for this audience and still be excited to make more? And if not, you may end up missing key opportunities to connect emotionally with your audience. And honestly, now that I'm 2 years into this brand, I really think that it can cost you down the line. Now, that being said, I'm not closing this brand or anything like that, but looking back, if I could do things over and change things, I probably wouldn't have picked the niche that we're ultimately in. Now, over the last 2 years, it's really been exciting to grow this brand to over $2.3 million in sales. It's been about building something that is sustainable, ultimately profitable, and repeatable month after month. Now, these 4 shifts have changed how I currently run my business now and how I will build all of my businesses after. So take what works, leave what doesn't, and whatever you do, don't waste years making the exact same mistakes that I did. Hopefully this video helped you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It would absolutely mean the world to me. And if you want to get your hands on the Design GPT, then click the link in the description below and we'll send it right to your inbox. Other than that, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.